Trump still criticized. Top hated celebs 2024. Can you believe it? The man who once sat in the White House is now at the top of a very different list. From political scandals to personal controversies, these celebrities have shocked us all. But who else is on this unexpected list? Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking truth behind the most despised stars of the year. Are you ready for a wild ride? Let's dive in. Donald Trump. On the 13th of July, 2024, a close call with danger occurred when former President Donald Trump was the target of an assassination attempt at a political gathering in Butler, Pennsylvania. The individual accused of this act, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was fatally shot by Secret Service agents on the spot. Despite this, he managed to injure Trump's ear with a bullet. This event highlighted the intense and pervasive hostility directed towards Trump, a figure who has consistently been among the most despised public individuals in the United States. The divisive character of Trump has attracted vehement disapproval and contempt from a variety of well-known personalities. Kerry Washington, a renowned actress, once remarked, "Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to our country." In 2017, the musician Eminem put out an impromptu rap piece named The Storm, within which he persistently used the phrase Trump. Furthermore, the actor Robert De Niro has openly expressed his disapproval, saying, "I'd like to punch him in the face." Prominent figures who have voiced their disapproval of Trump include Meryl Streep, labeling him the bully during the 2017 Golden Globe Awards ceremony, and Stephen King, who posted on Twitter, "Trump is a rabid coyote." The animosity towards Trump isn't confined to the entertainment sphere. Political figures from both the Republican and Democratic parties have shown strong resistance to him. A European Council on Foreign Relations report suggests that the animosity from the establishment towards Trump is due to the perceived threat he poses to their agenda, privilege, and power. Conversely, Trump's supporters appreciate the elite's disdain, interpreting it as a confirmation of their anti-establishment position. A conservative commentator remarked, "The loathing Trump engenders in the establishment is a feature of his politics, not a bug." The recent assassination attempt on Trump has reinforced his position as one of the most detested public figures in the nation. Justin Timberlake. In her recent memoir titled The Woman in Me, Britney Spears has detailed incidents that have led to Justin Timberlake being viewed as one of the most despised celebrities, especially after the book's release. The memoir contains critical accusations against Timberlake, such as the claim that he ended their relationship with a mere two-word text in 2002. Spears also suggests that Timberlake was responsible for portraying her unfavorably in the media post their separation. Most notably, Spears discloses that Timberlake had urged her to have an abortion during their relationship, even though she personally wanted to continue with the pregnancy. She stated, "If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it, and yet Justin was so sure that he didn't want to be a father." Additionally, she accuses Timberlake of being unfaithful throughout their time together, with several instances of cheating. The reaction from the public has been overwhelmingly negative towards Timberlake, with widespread disapproval of his alleged conduct towards Spears. His efforts to counter the allegations have largely been met with doubt, as the revelations in Spears' memoir have significantly tarnished his reputation. The impact of The Woman in Me has solidified Timberlake's position as one of the most disliked celebrities in the current climate. Britney Spears' shocking revelations have left Justin Timberlake's reputation in tatters. Comment yes if you believe Spears' accusations, or no if you think Timberlake has been unfairly maligned. Share your thoughts. Justin Roiland. Justin Roiland, known for co-creating and voicing characters in the popular animated shows Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites, has recently become embroiled in a controversy that has significantly impacted his professional standing and resulted in his removal from the shows he was instrumental in creating. In 2020, Roiland was charged with domestic violence, but these charges were eventually dropped due to insufficient evidence. Nonetheless, the mere allegations have left a negative impact on his public image. The situation for Roiland worsened with the emergence of additional allegations of improper conduct, such as using his celebrity status to engage young fans, including minors, in unsuitable relationships. As these allegations became public, the networks responsible for Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites, namely Adult Swim and 20th Television Animation, decided to cut their ties with Royland. This included replacing him as the voice for the main characters of these series. Royland's legal counsel, Andrew Brettler, has strongly refuted these allegations, labeling them as untrue and damaging. Yet, the harm to Royland's reputation seems to be extensive and possibly permanent. He has been compelled to distance himself from the projects that brought him fame in the animation industry. An industry expert commented that the repercussions of these allegations have had a profound effect on Royland's legacy, and it is uncertain whether he will be able to rehabilitate his tarnished reputation. Drew Barrymore, who was once adored as America's sweetheart, has been thrust into a significant dispute following her decision to continue the production of her talk show, The Drew Barrymore Show, during the ongoing Writers Guild of America (WGA) strike. The backlash was fierce as Barrymore was accused of disregarding the strike by crossing picket lines, with detractors labeling her actions as disrespectful and tone-deaf. One Instagram user expressed their disappointment, calling it a huge betrayal to the writers and the labor movement. Barrymore's initial efforts to justify her choice seemed to exacerbate the situation. She posted an emotional apology video, which was later removed, and declared that her show would adhere to the promotional guidelines of the strike. However, these actions failed to satisfy her critics. The situation escalated when Barrymore suspended her show, recognizing the pain she had inflicted. In an Instagram post, she expressed regret, stating, "I'm deeply sorry for any hurt I have caused and to our dedicated team who have made the Drew Barrymore Show what it is today." The controversy was so severe that the National Book Awards withdrew Barrymore's invitation to host their November ceremony, attributing their decision to her choice to continue production during the strike. This incident has marred Barrymore's public persona, leading many to wonder if she can ever truly restore her former image as America's sweetheart. Elon Musk. Elon Musk, once celebrated as a groundbreaking business leader and forward thinker, has encountered significant disapproval and scrutiny in recent years, especially after his contentious purchase of Twitter, which he rebranded as X in 2022. Since assuming control of the social media giant, Musk has made a number of radical alterations that have been met with broad disapproval. These include extensive layoffs that resulted in a substantial number of Twitter employees being let go. He has also been heavily criticized for restoring the accounts of individuals who had previously been banned, like former US President Donald Trump and rapper Kanye West, both of whom have a track record of disseminating false information and hate speech. Musk's decisions have led to allegations that he is enabling the spread of hate speech and misinformation on the platform. The Anti-Defamation League has condemned his tweets as anti-Semitic and warned that they could encourage extremists. Public opinion of the billionaire has transitioned from seeing him as an innovative and visionary entrepreneur to regarding him as a detached and contentious figure. A YouGov poll indicates that only 43% of Americans have a positive view of him, while 32% harbor negative feelings towards him. Further public backlash has been ignited by Musk's contentious modifications to Twitter, including the introduction of a paid verification system. Critics argue that he is prioritizing financial gain over the platform's credibility. Consequently, Musk has been subjected to intense scrutiny from lawmakers, journalists, and the broader public. Some have even demanded his resignation as CEO. Elon Musk's controversial reign on Twitter. Rate your disapproval of his decisions on a scale of 0, 5, and share your thoughts on his impact on the platform. Comment below. Lizo. Lizo, the acclaimed pop star renowned for her empowering music and her advocacy for body positivity, has been embroiled in a significant controversy that risks overshadowing her rapid ascent to stardom. In an unexpected development, 3 ex-backup dancers have lodged a legal complaint against Lizo, her production firm, and her dance captain, alleging the creation of a hostile work environment, sexual harassment, and even weight discrimination. The dancers' claims depict a distressing scenario, alleging that Lizo coerced them into participating in questionable activities, like interacting with nude performers and handling sexually explicit items during a visit to a club in Amsterdam's notorious red light district. One of the dancers, Ariana Davis, detailed feeling targeted and shamed by Lizo's conduct, which she said was starkly at odds with the singer's public image as a proponent of self-acceptance and diversity. Lizo has forcefully refuted these allegations, labeling them as outrageous and too much to not be addressed. Nonetheless, the controversy has already impacted her public standing as questions arise about the sincerity of her body-positive messaging. A former staff member remarked, "Everything she stands for, she's the complete opposite of that." The ongoing legal dispute has placed a pall over Lizo's professional trajectory, with her career's forward momentum faltering as the accusations continue to surface. Both fans and industry professionals are now reconciling the disparity between the Lizo they believed they knew and the one depicted in the lawsuit, prompting speculation on whether the singer can ever truly recover her previously unblemished reputation. Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, previously lauded as an emerging talent in Hollywood, has become entangled in a very public and contentious legal dispute that has greatly affected his professional path. In March 2023, Majors was apprehended and indicted for assault, strangulation and harassment based on accusations from his former partner, Grace Jabari. She alleged that Majors assaulted her in the rear seat of a vehicle, detailing that he hit her in the head with his open hand, twisted her arm behind her back and squeezed her middle finger until it broke. Conversely, Majors' legal team contended that Jabari was the one who initiated the violence, claiming she experienced a jealous outburst upon finding a message from another woman on Majors' phone. The court process has been characterized by conflicting accounts, with the prosecution depicting Majors as having a cruel and manipulative pattern of abusive behavior, while his attorneys attempted to portray Jabari as mentally unstable and the actual perpetrator of the assault. Majors was found guilty of 2 misdemeanor charges of assault and harassment, which has severely damaged his blossoming career. In response, Marvel Studios and Disney swiftly removed him from all future projects, including his much-anticipated portrayal of the antagonist Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As Majors contemplates potential imprisonment for up to a year, his once bright career prospects have been considerably affected, and he has also lost the backing of his talent agency and a considerable segment of his fan following. Andrew Tate and Andrew Tate, a divisive personality on social media, has been taken into custody on charges of sex trafficking and involvement in organized crime. He has been incarcerated in Romania and has voiced his dissatisfaction with the prison conditions. Even after being released to house arrest, Tate has remained a controversial figure. The general public has not shown much empathy towards his plight. Known for his derogatory opinions about women, Tate has faced bans on multiple social media platforms for his hateful rhetoric. He has been criticized for promoting harmful gender stereotypes and has been linked to extremist right-wing beliefs. His online courses, such as Hustlers University and The Real World, have been slammed for advocating violence towards women and encouraging them into sex work. Tate's legal issues have persisted with allegations in Romania and the UK. He has been accused of rape, human trafficking, and establishing a criminal organization. The Romanian court has allowed his trial to move forward, even though his defense has lodged an appeal against this ruling. Tate's case has been shrouded in controversy and has attracted considerable global attention. Despite his professed innocence, his behavior and statements have led to extensive disapproval and denunciation. In a humorous twist, the well-known television program South Park portrayed Tate as an instructor of toxic masculinity, further emphasizing the detrimental effects of his influence. Tate's online activities and contentious views have made him one of the most despised celebrities, with many considering him a representative of noxious and damaging ideologies. His situation serves as a stark warning about the risks associated with unbridled influence and the necessity of holding individuals responsible for their conduct and convictions. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has become the focus of a media frenzy in recent times, drawing substantial criticism for what is seen as an excessive disclosure of private matters during the publicity for her latest autobiography, Worthy. The audience has shown signs of fatigue with Pinkett Smith's ongoing exposure of intimate aspects of her marriage to Will Smith, such as their separation since 2016 and her previous connection with the late rapper Tupac Shakur. She commented, "As much as people think is in the book, there's so much that's not. What people consider to be oversharing for me, it's like, baby, I'm scratching the surface." However, this openness has been confronted with disapproval, with critics suggesting that she is making a spectacle of her dirty laundry and is seeking attention. A media observer remarked, "Everything I know about their marriage I've learned against my will." The public's irritation has negatively affected Pinkett Smith's public persona, with detractors describing her as a manic, toxic nightmare who should shut up and sit down. Despite her attempts to clarify and assert her right to narrate her personal experiences, the negative response has been unyielding, highlighting the audience's exhaustion with the continuous exposure of her personal life. Danny Masterson. Danny Masterson, once cherished for his role in the hit sitcom That 70s Show, has turned into one of the most despised celebrities in recent times. The actor was convicted on several counts of sexual assault, including the drug-induced and forcible rape of 2 women in the early 2000s. His public persona was severely damaged when he was handed a sentence of 30 years to life in prison, reflecting the severity of his offenses. The distressing facts that came to light during the trial have left an indelible mark on Masterson's reputation. A victim testified, "When you raped me, you stole from me. That's what rape is, a theft of the spirit." Another survivor articulated her pain, saying, "Masterson's actions sentenced me to viewing my body as a crime scene my entire life." These impactful statements have struck a chord with the public, who have almost unanimously denounced Masterson's behavior. The public's indignation was further fueled by the actions of Masterson's former co-stars Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, who were criticized for their previous support of the now disgraced actor. Their character letters, meant to offer a more comprehensive view, were interpreted by many as an effort to belittle the victims' ordeals and the jury's verdict. This adverse reaction has added to the tarnishing of Masterson's image, as his transgressions have cast a shadow over his once thriving acting career. As we delve into the stories of these once adored celebrities turned controversial figures, it's clear that fame can be a double-edged sword. Actions, both personal and public, have led to a shift in public opinion, and we're curious to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with the public's stance, or do you believe there's more to the story? Comment "OK" if you found this informative, and let's get the conversation going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more from Iconic Inside. Let's keep this dialogue alive. Trump shooting is nothing compared to these horrific crimes. Crimes more horrifying than Trump shooting could ever be. We're diving deep into the darkest corners of human history, with stories so chilling, so disturbing, that you'll be left speechless. From cold-blooded killers to baffling mysteries, these crimes will stay with you long after the lights go out. If you thought you knew the meaning of horrific, get ready for a terrifying reality check. On the 13th of July, 2024, an assassination attempt was made on former President Donald Trump during a political event in Butler, Pennsylvania. The suspect, a 20-year-old named Thomas Matthew Crooks, reportedly fired shots at Trump from a rooftop about 200 meters away. This violent act resulted in the death of one individual and left 2 others with serious injuries. During the incident, Trump was hit by a bullet that lightly wounded his right ear. He later shared his experience on his social media platform, Truth Social, stating, "I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening." The former president was promptly escorted off the stage by his Secret Service detail and taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. He was discharged the same evening. In a one-on-one conversation, Trump reflected on the near-death experience, remarking, "I'm supposed to be dead." The medical professional who attended to him referred to the outcome as miraculous, highlighting the gravity of the situation. Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old registered Republican residing in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, was killed by a Secret Service sniper in the midst of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Authorities are currently investigating the reasons behind his actions and are examining the possibility of any accomplices in the act. Forget Trump assassination attempt, these crimes will leave you speechless. What you thought was shocking pales in comparison to the chilling depths of human depravity we're about to explore. If you're ready to delve into the darkest corners of criminal history, steel your nerves and watch on, if you dare. The death of Sylvia Lyons. In 1965, 16-year-old Sylvia Lyons and her sister Jenny were placed under the guardianship of Gertrude Banishevsky in Indianapolis, Indiana. As financial support for their care diminished, Banishevsky's frustration manifested in physical abuse, predominantly directed at Sylvia. The abuse intensified, involving Banishevsky's children and local youths who participated in the brutal treatment of Sylvia. She suffered numerous forms of torment, including sexual assault, psychological abuse, physical beatings with various objects, starvation, burning, and being coerced into degrading acts. An autopsy on Sylvia revealed extensive injuries, with over 150 distinct wounds such as burns, tissue damage, and a severely swollen vaginal area. William C. Urbecker, defense attorney for Banishevsky, characterized the abuse as degradation that you wouldn't commit on a dog. Sylvia tragically passed away on October 26, 1965, due to a subdural hematoma, head trauma, circulatory shock, and extreme malnourishment. Gertrude Banishevsky was found guilty of first-degree murder and was given a life sentence in prison. Her daughter Paula was convicted of second-degree murder. The other children involved in the abuse received convictions for manslaughter and served less than 2 years in prison before being released on parole. The crimes of Jerry Brudos. Jerome Jerry Brudos, infamously referred to as the Lust Killer and the Shoe Fetish Slayer, was a serial killer who took the lives of 4 young women in Oregon during the period of 1968 to 1969. Brudos harbored a deeply unsettling fascination with shoes, which progressed into extreme acts of violence against women. He abducted his victims, strangled them, and then retained their shoes as mementos of his crimes. In one particularly grisly instance, Brudos severed the foot of a victim to place a high-heeled shoe on it, as he desired to dress and pose them however he liked, whenever he liked, essentially seeking a life-size doll. The discovery of the bodies of 2 of Brudos's victims prompted his arrest. Upon interrogation, Brudos admitted to the murders, recounting that he hit her in the head and then strangled her to death. He was subsequently given 3 consecutive life sentences for the murders of Linda Dawn Sally, Karen Elena Sprinker, and Jan Susan Whitney. Brudos spent the rest of his life in prison, where he died from liver cancer in 2006. His lengthy incarceration made him the longest-serving prisoner in the Oregon Department of Corrections history. A crime that shocked Oregon. Comment yes if you think justice was served, or no if you think Brudos' sentence was too lenient. Let's discuss. Dennis Rader, the BTK Killer. Dennis Rader, infamously dubbed the BTK Killer, led a double existence as a family man and community leader in Wichita, Kansas, while simultaneously carrying out a series of gruesome murders from 1974 to 1991. Rader's modus operandi involved stalking his victims before subjecting them to binding, torture, and ultimately, strangulation. After a 13-year break from his murderous activities, Rader re-emerged in 2004, sending letters to the police and media that graphically detailed his crimes. He signed these letters with the acronym BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill. In 2005, Rader made a critical error by sending a floppy disk to a local television station. The police were able to trace the disk back to his church, where he held the position of president of the congregation. Upon his arrest, Rader confessed to the murders and pleaded guilty, expressing surprise that the police had been able to trace the disk. He was subsequently sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms in prison for his horrific crimes. The case of Dennis Rader has been extensively covered in various forms of media, including books, films, television shows, and songs, cementing his notoriety as one of America's most infamous serial killers. John Haye, the acid bath murderer. John Haye, referred to as the acid bath murderer, was an English serial killer found guilty of 6 murders, though he alleged to have killed 9 individuals. Initially a con artist, Haye progressed to murder, targeting affluent people for financial gain. He would deceive his victims into visiting his workshop, where he would kill them by shooting or bludgeoning, and then eliminate their bodies using concentrated sulfuric acid to erase evidence. A source describes Haye's method. Haye had carefully selected his 6 victims, all friends of varying degrees, lured them to a swift execution, and then systematically disposed of their bodies in large oil drums of sulfuric acid at a workshop, meticulously equipped for that shocking purpose. Haye's criminal activities were uncovered when the remains of one of his victims, Olive Duran Deacon, were discovered at his workshop. Following a trial, he was convicted and executed in 1949. The Cambridge University report on Haye's case notes that his letters displayed delusions of grandeur and a disconnection from the emotional impact of what he had done, pointing towards a potential psychopathic personality. The disappearance of the Soder children. The vanishing of the Soder siblings on Christmas Eve 1945 in Fayetteville, West Virginia, is still among the most enigmatic, unresolved cases in U.S. history. During that ill-fated night, a fire engulfed the Soder family's home, resulting in the supposed deaths of 5 of the 10 children. Morris, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 10, Jenny, 8, and Betty, 5. However, no remains of the children were ever discovered, leading their parents, George and Jenny Soder, to reject the notion that their children had died in the fire. The Soders were suspicious of malicious intent, pointing out several peculiarities related to the fire. George challenged the fire department's conclusion that the fire had been caused by an electrical issue, given that the house's wiring had been recently updated. The family also recalled an unknown vehicle parked close to their residence earlier that night. Jenny Soder later received an enigmatic photograph in the mail, seemingly depicting their son Louis as an adult many years later. As Jenny expressed, "Time is running out for us, but we only want to know. If they did die in the fire, we want to be convinced. Otherwise, we want to know what happened to them." Despite thorough investigations, the case has persisted in its unsolved status, leaving the Soder family and the wider public with an abundance of questions and few definitive answers. The Cleveland Torso Murders. The Cleveland Torso Murders, alternatively known as the work of the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run, were a sequence of grisly homicides that took place in Cleveland, Ohio, from 1935 to 1938. An unidentified serial killer was responsible for the deaths and dismemberment of at least 12 individuals, with numerous victims discovered in various parts of the city in a state of disassembly. A significant investigation was conducted under the direction of the renowned law enforcement figure, Eliot Ness, yet the case has persisted in its unsolved status. The victims were frequently transients or those existing on the margins of society, which complicated the process of identification. The killer's method of operation involved beheading and dismembering the victims, with some remains exhibiting indications of chemical processing. The murders were distinguished by their extreme violence and the absence of any substantial leads or evidence, resulting in the case remaining cold to this day. A chilling tale of murder and mystery. Comment RIP to honor the memories of the victims and share your thoughts on the shocking crimes that shook Cleveland. The Hunts of Robert Hansen. Robert Hansen, dubbed the Butcher Baker, appeared to be a regular family man with a sinister secret. He was a serial killer who preyed on at least 17 women in Alaska over a period of 10 years. Hansen specifically targeted sex workers and exotic dancers, abducting them and flying them to isolated areas of the Alaskan wilderness in his private aircraft. Upon arrival, he would release them and then pursue them as if they were prey, equipped with a hunting knife and a rifle. In the wilderness, his favored spot was near the Nick River. Robert Hansen would free the women. For a brief moment, they would believe they had a chance to flee. Then, as they fled for their lives, he would pursue them, taking his time, hunting them like wild animals, as one report described. Hansen's horrific deeds went unnoticed for many years until 1983, when one of his victims, the 17-year-old Cindy Paulson, miraculously escaped. Paulson informed the police that Hansen had kidnapped, restrained, and sexually assaulted her before taking her to his plane, where he threatened to murder her if she attempted to escape. Based on Paulson's account, the police were able to locate and apprehend Hansen. In 1984, Hansen confessed to 4 murders and multiple other felonies. He later confessed to the murders of a total of 17 women and guided investigators to their burial sites. Hansen was sentenced to 461 years in prison without the possibility of parole, where he remained until his passing in 2014 at the age of 75. The murder of John Price. On the 29th of February 2000, Catherine Mary Knight committed a heinous crime by murdering her partner, John Price, in their Aberdeen, New South Wales residence. Employing her skills as a proficient meat worker, Knight inflicted at least 37 stab wounds on Price's body. Following his death, she dismembered and disrespected Price's corpse, expertly skinning it to create a hide that encompassed his head, face, and limbs. As described by Justice Barry O'Keefe, the prisoner hung his pelt on a meat hook on the doorframe of the lounge room, where it stayed until it was removed by the police. Knight proceeded to sever Price's head and cooked portions of his body, intending to serve the meat to Price's children, with plates labelled with their names. The police intervened before the children returned from school, discovering Price's head simmering on the stove. As a result of her actions, Knight became the first woman in Australia to receive a life sentence without the possibility of parole, with her case file marked never to be released. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston became the epicenter of one of history's most infamous art thefts on the early morning of March 18, 1990. 2 thieves, impersonating police officers, gained entry to the museum under the pretense of attending to a disturbance. Upon entering, they overpowered the 2 security guards on duty, restrained them with duct tape, and then stole 13 invaluable pieces of art, including works by Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Manet. The thieves spent 81 minutes with careful attention to detail in removing the paintings from their walls and frames, showcasing a degree of planning and exactitude that has perplexed investigators for more than 30 years. The robbery left an evident void in the museum's collection, with the stolen art valued at over $500 million. Despite an exhaustive investigation by the FBI and local law enforcement, the case has remained unsolved. Speculations about the thieves' identities and the art's location are numerous, with some pointing to the possible involvement of the Boston Mafia. As Anthony Amore, the museum's security director, stated, the thieves took 13 pieces, including the concert by Vermeer and 2 Rembrandts, one of them his only known seascape, Storm on the Sea of Galilee. The art was not insured due to the terms of the bequest that established the museum, and empty frames now hang where the art once was. Nothing has been recovered despite the museum's $10 million reward. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist continues to intrigue the public, reflecting the boldness and enigma of this enduring unsolved crime. The disappearance of Dorothy Jane Scott. Dorothy Jane Scott, a 32-year-old single mother residing in Stanton, California, vanished under terrifying conditions on May 28, 1980. Prior to her kidnapping, Scott had been subjected to a series of odd and menacing phone calls from an unknown male. The caller's behavior fluctuated between declaring his affection for her and threatening her life, once ominously stating he would cut her up into bits so no one will ever find her. Concerned for her security, Scott had contemplated buying a firearm and had recently begun attending karate classes. On the night she vanished, Scott drove 2 colleagues to the hospital after one was bitten by a spider. While they were in the ER, Scott went to retrieve her car to drive them home. However, as she pulled up to the entrance, the vehicle suddenly sped away and her colleagues couldn't see the driver due to the intense headlights. Scott was never seen again. The next day, her abandoned and burned-out car was found in an alley about 10 miles away. 4 years later, in August 1984, a construction worker made a grisly discovery: a partially burned human skeleton and dog remains, about 30 feet from the road. While this discovery brought some closure to Scott's family, her attacker was never caught. In this episode, we've explored chilling crimes that have left an indelible mark on history. From the brutal tactics of serial killers to the mysterious circumstances of unsolved cases, these stories serve as stark reminders of humanity's darker side. But what do you think? Does this content leave you with more questions than answers? Let us know by commenting OK if you find this video informative. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more from Iconic Inside. Your engagement helps us dive deeper into the stories that need to be told.